Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures. I am also the niche navigator, and I am welcoming you on my segment, the Munira's Musings, which is a segment where I find and then expose and promote the coaches that I find that have crossed my path, because I know they're doing extraordinary stuff and helping and enhancing other people's lives. So thank you so much to Cyndilu, who is here from New Zealand.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
And I know it's morning over there, so happy Thursday to you, and it's Wednesday evening here. Well, thank you. I am humbled and honored to have you on my show. So as I ask everybody, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
So I live in New Zealand with my beloved Robin, who is a daily overcoming Parkinson's. So it's a daily challenge for us, but we enjoy life. We go for walks on the beach. We have 8 children between us, and they all live in the United States. And there are 10 grandchildren, and the 11th is on the way. So we spend some time online talking to our children, which is great. You know, Skype's our friend.
Oh, nice. Okay. They have Zoom now, and if you have WhatsApp, that's even free. So
yes.
So you are a coach, and you are enhancing other people's lives. How?
Okay, I am working primarily with people who feel like they're creative, artistic kind of people who may be in recovery, maybe went through some traumatic things in their life that caused them to shut down and close down their dreams. So I help them to revive those dreams and give them permission to start dreaming and being themselves. And I do that through using personalities. And a lot of people have taken personality tests, but they don't really know how to interpret that and include it into their lives so that they can step into their best dreams.
Is this the personality test with so many questions, and then you have to answer the same one and the other one similar to it, which is twisted, and now you're thinking, I just answered that?
Yeah, those are the ones. So I don't have a personality test myself, but what I have is a system that helps to interpret those personality test results. So a lot of people have taken like Myers-Briggs.
Yes.
So I'm an ENFP, INFP kind of person. So I kind of go back and forth between introverted and extroverted, which is very interesting. Like there's some people that call that being an ambivert. So I need as much time introverted as I do extroverted. But if I didn't understand that about myself, because I'm perceived as an extrovert, I would find myself spending a lot of time with a lot of people, and then I would get exhausted and not understand that I needed to take the time to rest. So that's what I mean by you learn what your personality is and you can apply it then to your life. Because knowing that I'm introverted and extroverted is great, but how do I apply that? Now I go, half the time I need to have people and half the time I need quiet.
Okay, so this test has almost 250 questions, I believe, approximately.
Yes, some of them have lots and lots of questions. And then there's other ones that you can do in 20 questions, some of the color code ones and different ones. So there's all different ones.
Yeah, I was specifically talking about the Myers-Briggs one.
Myers-Briggs, yes. That is a lot of questions.
I know, and then it's like by the time you get to the end, you just want to get over and done with.
So true.
So I've always questioned that, is that why this test is so long. That's number one. Number two, do you require people to take that test and bring their results to you?
I don't require them to do that. we can do a discovery session where if they've never done any personality tests, we can then, I would recommend them to one that's a bit shorter, just because it gives you a quick overview. And then we explore different things like your instincts. So there's another test called the Colby test, and that one deals with how you function in the world and how you do things, your actions. Because our emotions and our feelings, we're also what we do.
Okay.
And what we think is the next step, and that's your skill set and the knowledge that you have in your head. So then some people will want to do the IQ test to see where they're at and how they learn and how they think and what their processes are. So I take the whole body. I don't just do one section.
How did you fall into this?
That was, I ended up in a place where my life fell apart completely. We had a house fire, and that exposed some dysfunction in our relationship. And house fires either bring you closer together or explode it apart. So for me, I ended up within 3 years of the house fire being divorced, being on my own, living by myself, trying to figure out what life was. And I'd been married for 20 years. So I didn't even know who I was. I was so-and-so's wife, or I was these kids' mom, which is great in that season. But you come to the end of a season in your life, no matter what it is, and you find yourself wondering who you are and what you're about. And I discovered these tests at that time, and that was, a long time ago now, 14 years ago. Actually a little bit longer, about 17 years ago. I had loved personality tests even before that, but that's when I really started diving in deep and trying to figure out, who am I? What do I want to do? What are my dreams? Do I even have any dreams? Because I set all my dreams aside to be my husband's wife.
Isn't that the story of every woman?
I think a lot of women do that. And so the ideal would be to stay in the marriage and to find yourself and pursue your dreams, and both of you move together forward. God has blessed me with another husband now who allows me to be that person and actually encourages me to follow my dreams.
Yes, even though I didn't have a house fire, I've got a similar path. It sounds like you're echoing my path as well, because my first husband, he's late, he's passed away, but he used to do the same thing. It's like, I never knew who I was. I never knew what I liked. I didn't know what I wanted. And so becoming free after his death was amazingly, it was an intervention within myself, because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so, I think your message is, please don't lose yourself. Just because you're married doesn't mean you're dead, right?
That's right. That is definitely one of them. And the other thing was, I had been sexually abused and have some serious trauma happened from that, and the results of my behaviors and actions from that. And so my recovery from that was also happening 5 years prior to the fire, and then some time afterwards. So that's why I love helping people in recovery, because I know you can go through trauma and you can come out on the other side a stronger and more confident person.
So when you were going through all this turmoil, how did this test help you? And how were you introduced to it?
Say that again?
How were you introduced to it?
How was I introduced to it? I was introduced to it through finding a dating site.
Okay.
Because I found myself alone, and by myself. And it was through looking at these dating sites that they had these personality tests that were kind of connected to it, so that you could, I had done the Myers-Briggs years and years before that too. So I had been introduced to it through some other coaching and through personal development, which I love and have always loved. So the combination of the two together. But what I found was the more tests that I took, the more I found things that resonated with me and that I could grab a hold of. And the biggest thing that I help people with, or desire to help people with the most, is to realize that even though you're taking a test, which now puts you into a chunk, you're this or you're that or whatever, to realize that that's a part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. And when you take that piece, put with the other pieces, including your experiences and things that you've gone through in life and your own perspective, then you find out who you are as an individual. So that's one of the biggest things, is to realize that there's no two people alike on that planet. And every person has value to bring to the world.
That's so beautifully put. That is so beautiful. No, I mean, it's true, because you cannot find somebody similar. You may have a similar trait or habits or taste, but that person cannot be you, right?
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Well, I am so glad that we are having this conversation. So what have you, when you have people come to you and say, I was your client, could you share a little bit about what you do so that people who want to be your clients can figure out that this is something they want to connect with you?
Sure. So one of the main things that I do is find out, what are we thinking? So we would take, what are the thoughts you're having? And we'd write them down and take a look at that. And then what are the thoughts that you want, or what is the result that you want? And are the thoughts that you're having right now going to get you to the result that you want? And if they're not, then how do we reframe and restructure that story that you're telling yourself so that you can reset your mind and reframe your thinking?
Okay. So basically, like a mindset?
It is a lot of mindset. That's actually probably my specialty without realizing that that's what I was doing. And the reason that's such a specialty to me is because of the trauma that I've been through and my ability to recreate myself again and again when I came to the end of whatever season I was in, whether that was a season of trauma, a season of no longer being a mother, a season of losing a job or having a different job, moving across the country, going to university. I mean, I've done all of those things in the last 10, 20 years. And each time I found myself having to recreate what I wanted for life. Okay. And the only way you can do that is by using your mind, really.
So give me one example. So when you moved across the country.
Okay, so
New Zealand?
I moved to New Zealand, yes, but that was in 2012. So I was talking about 2003. So this was 2 years after the house fire. And I realized, I just sat there one day and I said, why am I living here in Vermont? This was a 7-month winter. There were 7 months of snow on the ground. Nobody should live in 7 months.
In the United States?
Vermont in the United States, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was living there and I just realized I was only in that state because I was married to a man from Vermont. And so we were staying there because that's where he wanted to be. But now I found myself no longer with him. And I went, where do I want to go? So I said, I want sunshine. Sunshine, give me sunshine. So I moved to Arizona. I got a temporary job. So I had to find a job. I had to figure out what I was doing, got an apartment, all of those things that I hadn't done for 20 years. All of a sudden, I'm faced with doing this by myself and trying to figure it all out and keeping that positive mindset that things are going to happen that are good for me was what helped me through that. I went to a job fair and less than a week later, I was in school. At the job fair, I found a university for graphic design and I ended up going to school for that. And I loved it.
Did you have any inkling that you were good at graphics and you were going to do this?
I did actually have an inkling that I was good at graphics because I had a job at a university in New Hampshire, Dartmouth College even, in the music department. And what I did was I created all of the posters and programs for a recital series there. And I had a couple of teachers pull me aside and say, you realize you're really good at this, you should probably go to school for it. So I did kind of think that I would go to school for it, but I didn't expect to do that in less than a week's time, like find it and start and jump in. So I'm not afraid to jump off the cliff. I'm not afraid to do it first. And I'm
not many women can say that.
Yeah, and so that's what I can bring to people is that daringness and that it's going to be okay. And I'll hold your hand as you jump if you need me to.
That's so beautiful because, I have walked that walk as well. And I have realized that I can't say that. I am not that daring. I am getting confident day by day, but I cannot just say that, hey, you know what, I'll jump off the cliff first. I mean, if somebody put me on an airplane with a parachute, I would say, you go first, I'll follow. Maybe not follow you at all.
I'll follow if I don't see you fall, right? I mean, that's part of it. And I used to really shy back from being first and from jumping in there. And then one day I realized that's a part of who I'm created to be. I'm actually created to start and to help people move forward and to help them step into something new. And if I don't go first, there's a bunch of people that are waiting for somebody to go first that aren't going to take their move. So I have to. It's become I have to jump.
It's awesome. I am so proud of you. I am.
Thank you. I am so proud of you for doing what you're doing. You're taking little leaps, and little leaps are good too.
Well, I'm not going to jump off of the cliff until I know for sure, but I'm going to start jumping off of, the little ones first.
Little ones. That's right. Little hills.
So you moved to Arizona, and then you moved, you got a job, you became a graphic artist, and now you're in New Zealand.
Yes, I met my husband. I moved back to Vermont to be with when I graduated from the graphic design school, I moved back to Vermont to be with my parents because my dad was sick and spent the last year of his life with him. And while I was back there, I met my current husband who lived in Vermont at the time, but was born in New Zealand. So that is how I got to New Zealand because he wanted to come home back to his country. So I get to be here with him, and I love New Zealand. I found home here. It's just such a joy for me to be here.
That is cute. Then you have what's a wonderful, cute story, But out of every diversity, out of every problem, you become a winner when you walk out of it. Somebody told me the other day, he says, I didn't go through it. I grew from it. I grew through it. And that was so profound to me because it really hit me, was through the adversity and all of the things that happen to us, which we call problems, and why does it happen to me? You are put through that test to become a beautiful, person at the end of it, My last name means gold, and I for the longest time, I never understood it until one day it hit me that, gold has to be molded in a lot of heat to become that piece, that one piece that nobody else can replicate, And I was like, oh, that's sort of who I am, And so that's what you are, because even though the process is different, the end goal is to be that beautiful person. I am so proud of you, and I'm so happy that you're on my show. And the fact that you are helping people get to that end goal regarding, regardless of whatever their path has been, but you can see their pain, right? And through the pain is the growth. So I feel like I'm walking this journey with you because I've gone through that pain. And for the longest time, I was never able to speak about it. I wanted it hidden. I had locked it up until I have a mentor who said, you need to write a story. I don't care what it takes, how long it takes to write a story. And I just finished it. So
wow, have you published that?
No, not there yet. But I just got it all off my chest.
Yes. I just published mine, self-published my story. So, yeah.
What's your book's name?
It's called Meeting Cheryl Elizabeth.
Okay.
So, and it's about my daughter who's in heaven and how she came to be there, and my recovery and restoration journey of my own healing from that whole experience.
Beautiful. Okay, so any last words you want to leave your patrons with, your potential clients with?
Look, if you're wanting to jump off a cliff and you need somebody to hold your hand, or if you're, say, in mid-fall and you need to have, find out if there's a net below you, then call me and I'll walk it through you. Sometimes we can't see our own needs. We need somebody else from the outside. I have a coach. I have somebody that I go to and I talk to her about how I think and how I feel and how I process things, because we cannot see from inside what others can see from the outside. So having an outside perspective is really helpful. And I'd love to help you with that.
Oh, wonderful. So people, if you are going through adversity, you're not alone. Most of us are walking through it. And some of us just complain about it. That's number one. I was one of them. And until one of this person said, you either, this is funny, I don't want to repeat it on air, but she says, either blank or get off the pot. And I never understood that too, because I didn't understand the context until it hit me one day that she doesn't want to hear it anymore. So unless I do something about it, and it's always that person that has to do something about it, right? Nobody else will do it for you. So if you are going through that, and if you want to find what's across this path that you're on and what the light at the end of the tunnel will bring you, you want to reach out to Cyndilu. We'll send her, you have a website, you have a Facebook page. We will leave all this information for you so you can connect with her. Even though she's in New Zealand, a little bit of timing difference where we have to adjust. However, it's not impossible. We did it, so you can too. And reach out. She's a wonderful person. I already like her. One day I'll visit her in New Zealand. Who knows?
Who knows? We have a place. Come on.
And if you come to Chicago, you're welcome here too.
Thank you.
But that's how we meet, and I'm meeting such wonderful people with my segments that I am awed and honored to have crossed their path. So
yeah, it's so exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you are watching this, please like, subscribe, and share the video. This is Cyndilu, who I am honored to have on my show. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.